In late 2024, behind locked doors in a subterranean lab in Japan, Musk witnessed something so disruptive it shattered everything he built Tesla to prove. Not a battery, not a breakthrough in lithium, but something far more dangerous to Silicon Valley's dream. A new combustion engine, one that runs on hydrogen, crushes emissions, and doesn't need a single charging station. Why did Toyota keep this buried? What does it mean for American workers, Wall Street, and your future car? Because if Elon Musk, the prophet of the electric age, just flinched, then maybe the EV revolution isn't the future. Maybe it's already over. Toyota's hydrogen engine breakthrough. Toyota's new engine doesn't use batteries, it doesn't plug in, and it doesn't require a sprawling global network of chargers or rare earth mineral mines halfway across the world. Instead, it burns hydrogen, not by converting it into electricity like traditional fuel cell vehicles do, but through direct combustion, just like a gasoline engine. This engine is a hybrid in name only. It was designed to shatter the boundaries between combustion and electrification. Developed in deep partnership with Subaru and Mazda, powertrain is built to integrate seamlessly with electric motors, but it retains the visceral, mechanical force of piston-driven combustion. That means it can provide instant torque, long-range capability, and rapid refueling, all without emitting carbon dioxide. The only byproduct? Water vapor. More importantly, Toyota's engine isn't just designed for hydrogen. It can run on multiple fuel types, including synthetic fuels, biodiesel, and traditional gasoline, depending on regional infrastructure and supply availability. That makes it flexible in a way that no electric vehicle can currently match. There are no cobalt-laced batteries, no dependence on lithium, no need for a coal-powered grid to keep cars moving. By reverting to combustion while using carbon-neutral fuels, Toyota found a way to sidestep almost every challenge facing the electric vehicle sector, while simultaneously preserving the mechanical advantages of gas-powered engines. And the design changes are just as disruptive. Engineers shortened the piston stroke, making the engine 10 to 20% smaller than previous combustion blocks. This allows for lower hoods, better aerodynamics, and superior fuel efficiency. And to ensure no loss in torque, Toyota integrated electric motors for low-end response. The result is something that performs like a sports car, but emits like a wind turbine. The engine's compact footprint also means it can be deployed across Toyota's entire lineup, from tiny urban hatchbacks to heavy-duty pickup trucks. It's scalable, adaptable, and more importantly, nearly ready for market. Which makes you question, what's going to happen to Tesla then? It's a lot to unpack, so make sure you're subscribed before we dive in. Thanks. Why Tesla's battery empire is crumbling. Electric vehicle batteries were supposed to save the planet until they became a global problem. The dream of battery-powered vehicles was always rooted in a vision of clean energy, zero emissions, silent streets, an end to oil wars and smog-choked cities. But that dream came at a cost, one most consumers never saw. To build just one lithium-ion battery, automakers must mine thousands of pounds of earth. Lithium, cobalt, and nickel, three essential elements, are pulled from deep within the planet, often under horrifying conditions. In the Democratic Republic of Congo, children are frequently found in cobalt mines, working under slave-like conditions. In South America's so-called lithium triangle, vast amounts of water are diverted from indigenous communities to feed extraction wells in the desert. And in regions like Indonesia and the Philippines, nickel mining has devastated local ecosystems, leaving toxic sludge in its wake. And even after these minerals are harvested and refined, the process of assembling a single battery pack still releases staggering levels of greenhouse gases. Some studies estimate up to 4 tons of carbon dioxide are emitted just to manufacture the battery, meaning it can take years of driving to break even on carbon emissions. Then there's the end-of-life issue. Only 5% of lithium-ion batteries are recycled. The rest, dumped, leaking, polluting. There is no efficient, profitable way to recover most of the materials inside them. Yet, Toyota's engine bypasses all of this. It doesn't require strip mining, global mineral shipping, or rare earth refining. It can be built in regional plants, powered by local hydrogen production, and repaired using familiar, well-known tools and systems. In other words, it's sustainable, not just in theory, but in practice. That wasn't just an engineering win. It was a moral knockout, the silent collapse of Tesla's monopoly. Musk's silence said it all. Tesla just got outflanked on its home turf. For more than a decade, Tesla built its identity on a single, bold bet. The future is battery-powered, and nothing else matters. Every factory, every vehicle platform, every research dollar, they all revolved around one idea: electrify everything. There was no fallback plan, no contingency. Tesla didn't develop hybrid systems. It didn't explore combustion flexibility. It didn't build hydrogen infrastructure. But Toyota did. Tesla's so-called gigafactories, those sprawling battery plants in Nevada, Shanghai, and Berlin, are optimized entirely around lithium-based supply chains. That means any pivot away from battery-first production requires a total reinvention of the company's manufacturing model, and Wall Street noticed. After Musk's cryptic comment about Toyota's engine, Tesla's stock began fluctuating. Institutional investors started quietly asking questions. Why doesn't Tesla have a hydrogen roadmap? What if synthetic fuels overtake battery adoption in developing countries? Why is Toyota filing new powertrain patents, while Tesla sticks to outdated architecture? For the first time since Tesla's meteoric rise, cracks began appearing in the narrative. It wasn't just about speed anymore, or style, or autonomy. It was about survival. Toyota didn't challenge Tesla at the high end of the market. It didn't roll out a flashy sports car. It built something deeper, an engine architecture that could change the entire energy equation behind personal mobility. And then, Toyota filed a patent Musk didn't see coming: the Ghost strategy, Toyota's long game. Their engineers weren't just tinkering in a lab. They were embedded in racing circuits, testing combustion engines under the most punishing conditions imaginable. They were working with chemical engineers, hydrogen specialists, and aerodynamicists to reimagine what a next-generation engine could be. All of this was part of a strategy designed not to win the next quarter, but to win the next 2 decades. While governments set ambitious targets for battery electric vehicle adoption, Toyota focused on infrastructure readiness. They knew that most regions lacked the grid capacity to support a full shift. They saw that charging stations remained limited, especially in rural and developing markets. Their goal wasn't to follow the hype. It was to wait for the moment when the world realized electric vehicles weren't a silver bullet. They weren't behind. They were patient. And now it's too late to catch them. The engineering masterstroke: shrinking the engine. This tiny engine might be the biggest threat Tesla has ever faced. To the untrained eye, it may look like just another power unit, but under the casing lies one of the most significant engineering advancements in modern automotive history. The breakthrough came not from adding complexity, but from stripping it down. Toyota's engineers shortened the piston stroke, a deceptively simple decision with massive consequences. This adjustment allowed them to shrink the entire engine block, making it between 10 and 20% smaller and lighter than current models. That size reduction created a cascade of benefits. With a smaller block, vehicles could be designed with lower hood profiles, improving both aesthetics and aerodynamic performance. The result? Better fuel economy and smoother high-speed handling. Smaller also meant more flexibility. These compact engines could fit into a broader range of vehicles, from subcompacts to full-size SUVs. And thanks to hybridization, the reduced torque from the shorter stroke was offset by the instant response of integrated electric motors. This wasn't just an internal combustion engine revival, it was a reinvention. What made this even more lethal to Tesla's battery dominance was that these engines could function in multiple configurations: fully combustion, mild hybrid, full hybrid, hydrogen capable, synthetic fuel compatible. This wasn't an engine for a single generation. It was a platform for the next half-century. Tesla's battery-only architecture suddenly looked rigid by comparison. Toyota had created not just an engine, but a modular powertrain system. And unlike battery packs, which degrade over time and require rare minerals, this new engine could be serviced, adapted, and refueled using an evolving ecosystem of cleaner fuels. The future didn't get quieter. Inside the Toyota Subaru Mazda pact, it wasn't just Toyota. This was an ambush, and 3 automakers were in on it. In an industry where cooperation usually means temporary alliances or badge-engineered partnerships, Toyota's 2024 announcement of a joint internal combustion engine development pact with Subaru and Mazda was seismic. While Tesla and other battery-focused companies were doubling down on electric-only strategies, this Japanese coalition was charting a different path. Together, they launched a coordinated research and development initiative centered on hydrogen combustion, synthetic fuels, and hybrid internal combustion engine systems. Each company brought unique assets to the table. Mazda contributed its deep experience with rotary engines and combustion efficiency. Subaru, long known for rugged all-wheel drive systems, supplied performance data and expertise from its motorsports division. And Toyota provided the backbone: manufacturing capability, hybrid know-how, and hydrogen infrastructure investment. What made this pact so potent was its structure. Not traditional corporate merger, but a framework of friendly competition. Each Each automaker would develop and test its own variations, but all discoveries would be shared. This eliminated redundancy while accelerating progress. Their engineers cross-trained. Their test tracks were shared. Their prototypes were co-developed. The goal was not simply to build a better engine. It was to outmaneuver an entire industry. In a world where Western automakers had siloed themselves into electric-only echo chambers, Japan had mobilized its finest minds across 3 giants to develop a technology portfolio that could survive blackouts, bypass rare earth dependencies, and deliver instant torque without range anxiety. They weren't just preparing to compete, they were preparing to dominate. The patents that frightened Wall Street. Toyota filed a new series of patents. Musk's engineers went silent. The documents revealed something few in Silicon Valley expected. Not just an engine, not just a combustion system, but a platform. Toyota had locked in the intellectual property for a series of modular hybrid hydrogen combustion systems designed to scale across nearly every class of vehicle, from subcompact city cars to heavy-duty trucks and performance machines. The new designs eliminated rare earth material dependencies. They featured combustion chambers optimized for hydrogen, ethanol, and synthetic fuels. Even more disruptive, the systems used electric motors only where necessary, reducing the overall reliance on battery packs. Wall Street analysts, previously bullish on battery electric vehicle dominance, began re-evaluating. For the first time, financial models included scenarios where Tesla's market share would not only stagnate, but decline. Fund managers who had poured billions into electric vehicle ETFs began diversifying into combustion-adjacent portfolios. Tesla's stock dipped. Toyota's surged. Musk, long the loudest voice in the electric vehicle world, refused to comment directly on the patents. But insiders at Tesla reported a flurry of closed-door meetings. Several engineers requested emergency review of archived hydrogen research. Something had changed. What rattled Tesla wasn't just that Toyota had invented something new. It was that they had protected it legally, planned it systematically, and prepared to deploy it across every segment Tesla currently controlled. And the biggest disruption? It wasn't in the factories, it was in Washington. As lawmakers faced mounting pressure to re-evaluate electric vehicle subsidies, infrastructure plans, and emissions policies, they began to ask the unthinkable. Had the United States backed the wrong technology? Because Toyota's plan wasn't just about engineering, it was about power. And with these patents, they had claimed it. Washington's worst-case scenario. Lawmakers had one plan for the electric future. Toyota just tore it apart. For more than a decade, the United States government has bet big on battery-powered electric vehicles. The idea was simple and politically safe. Build out a national charging network, subsidize battery development, and push automakers toward zero-emission electric fleets. Every major federal policy, from tax credits to climate legislation, operated under the assumption that battery electric vehicles were the final destination. That illusion shattered the moment Elon Musk walked out of Toyota's research facility and admitted something no one expected to hear from him. Toyota's new engine might destroy the entire electric vehicle industry. The core of America's electric vehicle transition rests on billions of dollars in taxpayer-funded subsidies. From direct purchase incentives for electric vehicle buyers to massive infrastructure investments in charging networks, Washington planned for a future where lithium-ion batteries powered everything from personal cars to commercial trucks. But now, as Toyota's new hydrogen combustion hybrid threatens to upend those expectations, the very logic of that investment is being questioned. Suddenly, the costs don't look so clean. Building and maintaining fast charging stations across a nation as vast and decentralized as the United States is already pushing infrastructure budgets to the breaking point. With slow rollout times and inconsistent reliability, even supportive lawmakers are beginning to question whether this is the only road worth traveling. Toyota's new technology, which doesn't require massive charging infrastructure and avoids dependence on scarce minerals, has thrown those assumptions into chaos. Whispers of battery bias are beginning to echo across the halls of Congress. In closed-door meetings, some Senate Energy Committee members have reportedly demanded a reassessment of current funding allocations. Why, they ask? Should American tax dollars be locked into a single energy pathway, especially one now being challenged by one of the largest automakers in the world? Behind the scenes, congressional staffers are drafting language that could soften existing electric vehicle mandates, potentially reintroducing hybrid and hydrogen incentives. As the reality of Toyota's innovation begins to take shape, The entire green transportation strategy of the United States is now in jeopardy. But politics isn't the only battlefield, because on the streets of Detroit, the men and women building America's future have begun to push back. The labor revolt against battery-only futures. These weren't just layoffs, they were betrayals. For workers across the Rust Belt, the electric vehicle boom was supposed to bring stability, not uncertainty. But as battery-focused production ramped up, many began to notice something alarming. Jobs that once required a full team of skilled workers, machinists, engine builders, transmission experts, were being replaced by compact, modular assembly lines. Electric vehicles, by their very nature, require fewer parts, and fewer parts mean fewer jobs. As factory doors shut in Ohio, Michigan, and Indiana, workers who once assembled engines and powertrains were left behind. Entire communities built around internal combustion engine expertise found themselves stripped of purpose, identity, and income. The shift to electric promised sustainability, but at what human cost? Toyota's new hybrid hydrogen engine, by contrast, doesn't erase these jobs, it refines them. Its complexity demands engine assembly, drivetrain installation, hybrid calibration, and hydrogen safety certification. It doesn't replace the factory worker, it reinvents their role, and word is spreading fast. In private meetings between union leaders and auto executives, tensions are rising. Union representatives are demanding diversified production lines that include hybrids and hydrogen vehicles. They argue that battery-only facilities are a dead end for working-class Americans, and Toyota's example proves there's another way. Some unions have even floated the idea of targeted walkouts unless manufacturers commit to multi-pathway development. The political narrative is shifting. Once praised as heroes of the green transition, automakers that bet everything on electric vehicles now face a worker revolt. Because in the end, the future isn't just about sustainability, it's about survival. And while the labor movement begins to draw battle lines, another crisis is already underway, one built into the very heart of Tesla's global empire. Just think about it. Tesla is built on lithium. So what happens when lithium dries up? Tesla's global supply chain nightmare. Now, before we talk about this, you need to do one simple thing. Subscribe. It's easy. It only takes a sec. I'll even wait for you. Thank you. Tesla's meteoric rise was powered by more than vision. It was built on minerals, lithium, cobalt, nickel, mined from some of the most politically volatile regions on Earth. The Democratic Republic of the Congo, Bolivia, Chile, Argentina. These are the fault lines of Tesla's global supply chain, and they're beginning to fracture. The Congo alone supplies over 60% of the world's cobalt, but that supply is increasingly vulnerable. Political instability, armed conflict, and international scrutiny over child labor have made every ton of cobalt a liability. In Bolivia and Argentina, disputes over water rights and land usage have triggered local resistance to lithium extraction, slowing down operations and pushing costs higher. The so-called lithium triangle may be rich in resources, but it is also rich in volatility. As these regions grow more unstable, the price of raw materials has become a roller coaster. One month it's up 20%, the next down 15%. Tesla's production costs are now tied to the whims of foreign governments, activist movements, and climate shifts. This is not just an economic risk, it's a national security issue. Toyota, on the other hand, has positioned itself more cautiously. Its new engine can run on hydrogen, biodiesel, synthetic fuels, or traditional gasoline. Its hybrid systems don't require large battery packs and use far fewer rare materials. And its hydrogen technology sidesteps the entire lithium question altogether. Where Tesla is locked into a fragile supply network, Toyota is free to pivot, and that flexibility might be its greatest weapon. As geopolitical tensions escalate and resource nationalism surges, Tesla's dependence on hard-to-source minerals could become its Achilles heel, and Wall Street is starting to notice. Investors turn on the EV messiah. Wall Street doesn't bet on profits, it bets on results. Elon Musk built Tesla on vision, on charisma, and on an unshakable belief that the future was electric. For years, investors followed that vision blindly. The stock soared, the media praised him, and the company became the crown jewel of the electric revolution. But after Toyota's bombshell engine reveal, the mood on Wall Street has changed, and fast. As whispers of hydrogen combustion innovation became public, Tesla's stock began to wobble. First came the analyst downgrades, then came the portfolio exits. Major investment firms began quietly reducing exposure, rotating capital toward companies with diversified energy strategies: Toyota, Hyundai, Honda. In private notes, hedge funds began shorting Tesla stock while buying long positions in hydrogen infrastructure firms. Then came the press. Financial publications that once treated Elon like a Silicon Valley messiah started asking tougher questions. Why is Tesla still all in on lithium? Why doesn't it have a hydrogen roadmap? Can a company built entirely on batteries survive in a world where batteries might not win? Retail investors, once Elon's biggest supporters, started pulling out. Reddit forums, YouTube channels, and Twitter threads once dedicated to Tesla hype now overflowed with doubt. Tesla's identity had always been tied to inevitability, but now that narrative was collapsing. And just as the public was beginning to question everything, a new wave of disruption was building momentum overseas, ready to challenge Tesla's dominance on a global scale. Europe reacts, and it's not good news for Tesla. Germany bet its future on battery electric vehicles, and now it looks like that gamble might be unraveling. For years, European automakers like BMW and Mercedes-Benz led the charge toward full electrification, bolstered by strict emissions regulations, generous subsidies, and a growing narrative that internal combustion engines were relics of the past. Berlin, Brussels, and nearly every major capital in the European Union aligned on one mission: ban the combustion engine and replace it entirely with battery-powered alternatives. But then came Toyota. The unveiling of Toyota's new hydrogen-based combustion engine sent shockwaves through the automotive world. But no one was more rattled than Germany's automaking giants. BMW and Mercedes were among the first to privately admit they had been caught off guard. Their entire development strategy had centered around scaling battery systems and chasing range numbers, not rethinking propulsion from the ground up. Behind closed doors, engineering teams scrambled to analyze Toyota's new patents. Unlike hydrogen fuel cells, Toyota's engine combusts hydrogen directly, eliminating the need for complex battery packs or massive rare earth mineral supply chains. Suddenly, a technology once dismissed as niche was being hailed as the most practical solution for the future. European regulators found themselves in an even more uncomfortable position. The European Union had committed to a full internal combustion engine ban by the year 2035. But Toyota's innovation called that strategy into question. If hydrogen combustion could offer near-zero emissions without the infrastructure demands of electric vehicles, what then was the justification for banning all combustion-based vehicles? The debate erupted quickly. Policy advisors within the European Commission began re-evaluating emissions frameworks. Rumors of exemption clauses and technology-neutral paths began circulating. Some policymakers warned that clinging too tightly to an EV-only future could cost Europe its automotive edge. Simultaneously, hydrogen infrastructure investment talks that had long been stuck in limbo suddenly accelerated. Germany, the Netherlands, and even France announced pilot programs to expand hydrogen refueling networks. Industry groups and government bodies began hosting emergency summits to address the technology gap Toyota had just exposed. As for Tesla, its once solid European market share, especially in countries like Germany, Norway, and the Netherlands, began to slip. Consumers who once saw Tesla as the vanguard of clean mobility were now asking uncomfortable questions. And Tesla had no answer. At least not yet. But before Tesla could respond, another superpower was already making its next move: China's counterstrike. Tesla sells in China, Toyota builds in China. So when Beijing had to decide which company to support, it was not a difficult choice. For more than a decade, Tesla's expansion into China had been celebrated as a masterstroke of global business strategy. The Gigafactory in Shanghai was hailed as a symbol of international cooperation, allowing Tesla to avoid steep import tariffs, scale rapidly, and secure a leading position in the world's largest EV market. But that dominance came with a hidden cost: growing dependence on a nation with its own long-term ambitions, economic priorities, and industrial policy. As soon as Toyota's hydrogen-powered engine was made public, the Chinese government responded with remarkable speed. State-run media outlets began publishing op-eds and features that subtly questioned the sustainability of battery-only vehicles. The message was clear: the future was not going to be built on lithium alone. Overnight, the national narrative shifted from enthusiastic electric vehicle evangelism to a broader, more strategic focus on energy security, diversified fuel technologies, and resilience across the supply chain. Chinese automaker Build Your Dreams, once considered Tesla's fiercest local rival, pivoted almost instantly. The company announced it was launching a parallel research program into hydrogen combustion, making it clear that even China's domestic champions were no longer putting all their chips on battery electric technology. This wasn't just a marketing shift, it was a realignment of industrial policy and long-term planning. Behind the scenes, the Ministry of Industry and Information Technology quietly fast-tracked a national hydrogen infrastructure initiative. Billions of yuan were redirected toward the construction of hydrogen refueling stations in economic hubs like Beijing, Shenzhen, and Shanghai. Regional governments followed suit, introducing new incentives for consumers who opted for alternative fuel vehicles, including hydrogen-powered cars and trucks. The message was unmistakable. The age of battery-only supremacy was over. The timing could not have been worse for Tesla. Its growth in China had already started to slow, pressured by intensifying local competition and shifting consumer tastes. Now, with state support shifting decisively toward multi-fuel innovation, Tesla's all-in bet on battery electric vehicles looked increasingly isolated. What once seemed like a disruptive strength had suddenly become a structural weakness. Adding to the pressure was Toyota's uniquely embedded position in China's auto sector. Unlike Tesla, which primarily assembled vehicles in China for domestic consumption, Toyota had long-standing joint ventures, deep manufacturing partnerships, and regionally integrated supply chains. It wasn't just operating in the Chinese market, it was operating with the Chinese market in a way that aligned with Beijing's industrial goals. This strategic alignment began to pay off. Consumer surveys showed rising interest in hydrogen-capable vehicles, particularly among tech-savvy younger drivers and those living in urban centers with new fueling infrastructure. Videos of early Toyota prototypes featuring hydrogen combustion engines roaring to life circulated widely on Chinese social platforms, sparking excitement among engineers, students, and car enthusiasts alike. Tesla, by contrast, found itself caught in a growing media silence. Positive coverage dried up. Stories about battery degradation, fire risks, and rare earth mineral exploitation began trending across major platforms. Meanwhile, Tesla's image as a cutting-edge innovator quietly faded from public discourse. And just as Tesla began assessing the damage, the true battlefield opened up, not between nations, but within the industry itself. The EV industry's civil war. The auto industry had spent more than a decade marching toward what many believed was an inevitable destination: full electrification. Industry leaders, governments, and activists rallied behind a singular belief: electric vehicles or extinction. Internal combustion engines were declared obsolete. Battery electric was the future, and Tesla had led the charge. Then came Toyota's bombshell. The reveal of Toyota's hydrogen-based combustion engine, near-zero emissions, multi-fuel compatibility, and free from rare battery materials, sent shockwaves through the global auto sector. The illusion of consensus shattered. What followed wasn't healthy debate. It was civil war. It started quietly. During a routine earnings call, Ford disclosed that hybrid sales weren't just healthy, they were booming. Executives cited unexpected consumer stickiness toward flexible fuel options. Demand was surging. Within a week, General Motors followed suit, delaying several all-electric launches and shifting focus toward hybrids and plug-in hybrids. The dream of an all-EV world suddenly shaky. Tesla, famously loud and fast-moving, said nothing. Publicly, the company stuck to its all-electric creed. Elon Musk repeated familiar talking points about the inevitability of EVs, but privately, questions grew louder. Suppliers voiced long-term concerns. Engineers quietly questioned Tesla's inflexible roadmap. Investors asked if the company had become too rigid, more attached to a vision than to reality. And Toyota wasn't alone. Honda doubled down on hydrogen combustion, forming a development alliance with Toyota. Hyundai revived its hydrogen vehicle program and urged South Korean regulators to support diversified infrastructure. Volkswagen found itself divided, torn between aggressive EV targets and internal calls for a more balanced approach. This was no longer a technical dispute. It had become a philosophical divide. On one side stood the purists, those who saw battery electric as the only true solution. On the other, the pragmatists, those who saw Toyota's innovation not as regression, but evolution. The media quickly latched on. Headlines declared the Great Fork, a new turning point where automakers had to choose between competing visions. Would it be a single tech future or a flexible one? Tesla, once the bold disruptor, now looked like the rigid incumbent. The war extended far beyond boardrooms. Battery suppliers partnered with hybrid developers. Software firms diversified their platforms. Recruitment wars ignited as engineers flocked to companies offering more creative freedom. Startups seized the chaos, pitching hybrid hydrogen platforms to a world tired of charging limitations and supply chain bottlenecks. Messaging split. The old slogan, "Electrify everything," gave way to a new one, "Choose your solution," and Tesla, still silent in public. But the pressure was mounting. Elon's reckoning. The man who made electric vehicles fashionable and desirable, the one who forced global automakers to rip up their plans and start over, finally spoke. And what he said sent shockwaves through his own community. At a live tech forum, Elon Musk was asked point blank if Tesla would ever consider producing something other than a pure battery electric vehicle. For a moment, he didn't answer. Then came the shift. "We're looking at everything now," he said. "The world is changing." That was all it took. Within days, internal leaks confirmed what the industry had suspected. Tesla had quietly assembled a new research team focused on hydrogen combustion and hybrid integration. Some insiders claimed prototypes were already being tested, built from stripped-down Model S platforms fitted with experimental hydrogen systems. For longtime Tesla supporters, this was a bombshell. Elon Musk had spent more than 10 years ridiculing hydrogen, labeling it "fool cells" and an inefficient dead end. His sudden pivot raised questions. Was he adapting to a changing world or conceding to Toyota's lead? Tesla's brand image, once so tightly controlled, began to splinter. Forums, investors, and media outlets debated the meaning behind Elon's shift. Was he still the visionary pushing humanity forward, or just another executive trying to stay afloat in uncertain waters? To regain control of the narrative, Tesla issued a flurry of public statements. Musk hinted that future vehicles could offer multi-fuel options. He spoke of hybrid ranges optimized for real-world driving and new battery chemistries under development. Tesla, it seemed, was rebranding itself as not just electric, but flexible. Internally, the company faced growing tension. Engineers who had joined Tesla for its purity of vision, its unflinching commitment to battery electric innovation, now found themselves questioning the mission. Morale slipped, direction blurred. Investors demanded clarity. Was Tesla chasing Toyota's engine or preparing to leapfrog it? Would the company shift focus toward hybrid research or double down on next-generation battery breakthroughs? No one knew for sure. Consumers, too, took notice. Debate exploded online. Some hailed Musk's adaptability. Others saw it as a betrayal of Tesla's founding principles. Had the electric dream died or simply matured into something more complex? Toyota said nothing. It didn't need to. Its strategy was already in motion. The patents were filed. The technology was real. The infrastructure was coming. And most importantly, Toyota had been right. Tesla, the company that once left the auto industry scrambling to catch up, now found itself in that same position. Catching up, because Toyota didn't just disrupt the electric vehicle movement. It rewrote the definition of what a clean, sustainable future could look like. And Elon Musk, he's no longer the one setting the rules. He's learning to play by someone else's. But the question is, what's your take on all of this? What do people think? Let's know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you there.